Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are in good, my dear friends. Today is 17th January 2020. Day is Friday, and the first editorial that we are going to discuss today is talking of Kashmir. This one is about China talking about Kashmir at United Nations Security Council. India is not happy about it, and China should know that it should not do something like this at global platform, particularly about a topic that is associated with India. And if there is a problem between India and Pakistan on Kashmir, then we both nations can sort it out at bilateral level. We don't want any third party talking about it, talking about Kashmir. It's a very sensitive issue for our country, and we are going to analyze this one in detail. But before that, can I quickly introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses? They are designed by the best faculties of our country, and with the help of our pen drive and tablet courses, there are thousands of students out there who have cracked various different competitive exams. So I can wholeheartedly endorse this pen drive and tablet courses because I know the quality of this material that you can purchase from StudyIQ.com. If you have any question, queries, doubts regarding it, then you can give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. To download the PDF of today's lecture, you have two options. The first one is FB. You can follow me on Facebook. This is my FB page here. You can join my Telegram channel, and please make sure that you share this lecture with other students as well. There are so many students out there, they are not aware about English analysis of the Hindu newspaper, particularly students from South India and Northeast India. So those students who are regularly following it, you are my brand ambassadors, right? Please make sure that you pass this message, pass this video link as well as PDFs to students who are seeking Hindu analysis in English. Don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So this is for the second time China has talked about Kashmir at UNSC. Right, now the thing is, the first time it was right after we have, this 370, Article 370 was removed. And after that, China, for the first time, talked about UNSC after a very, very long period of time. And in last 5 months, this is the second time China is talking about Kashmir. And this is something that India will not accept. India will not tolerate as well. India has clearly stated that Beijing should refrain from bringing a bilateral issue into UNSC. UNSC is not for bilateral issues, right? United Nations Security Council is for issues that are affecting the world. So better we should not, sway away from the main core object of UNSC. This is the first thing that China needs to keep in mind. The second thing is India has accused China, and if you ask me personally, then I would say that India is totally right, that China is working as an agent of Pakistan when it comes to UNSC. China has saved Pakistan many a times at UNSC. China has in fact saved some of the most dreaded terrorists as well at UNSC. So this is a very dangerous game that China is playing, and there are various different reasons, right? China and Pakistan, they call each other all-weather friends. But the most important thing about, or the thing why China is concerned about Kashmir, or why China is trying to create this, hype around Kashmir, is because China has heavily invested in this portion of POK. Now, as we all know that this portion, this Kashmir, belongs to our country, India. A portion of it is under POK, that is Pakistan occupied Kashmir. It's under Pakistan's control. Now, you can see here, this is Pakistan-China Economic Corridor. The main aim is to connect this Kashgar with Gwadar. And this Pakistan-China or China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is part of BRI, that is Belt and Road Initiative. I'm sure you'd be aware about this Belt and Road Initiative, which is also referred as BRI many times, or it is also known as One Belt, One Road Initiative, OBOR. Same thing, right? Different names. So, One Belt, One Road or BRI is a pet project or a very important brainchild of Xi Jinping. So his ego is also associated with it. Now, India is not happy about this BRI because it is violating sovereignty of our country, because it is passing through a portion of our country, and we are not part of this CPEC, that is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. India has stayed away from this BRI, and that's a big problem for this success of BRI, because there are so many countries that are asking to China, like, why your neighboring country India is not part of this BRI? And that's a very difficult question for China to answer. So China has, said that this portion belongs to Pakistan at present. In future, if it will fall under your territory, then we will have a chat with you guys. So you can understand, like, India will not be happy with this attitude of China, and China has violated our sovereignty by using this POK portion for this CPEC. Now, what happened at UNSC? Most of the countries, right, they were not ready to have a chat on Kashmir. So basically, you can say this was a small yet important victory of India, a diplomatic victory and a defeat of China. Now, when it comes to Kashmir, in 1972, India and Pakistan both had a Shimla Accord. And the most important thing about Shimla Accord is that when it comes to Kashmir, both nations have agreed in this Shimla Accord of 72 that we will sort out our issues at bilateral level. We don't need any third party at all. Now, China's stand on Kashmir will affect, and it may create cracks in India and China's bilateral relationship, and it should not do it. The second thing is New Delhi can, if New Delhi has never used this thing for advantage and for creating pressure, but we have many buttons as well in our hand, like Tibet is there, Xinjiang province, Hong Kong, then you have issue of Taiwan. We are going to talk about Taiwan as well today, but we have never misused it. So China should also understand that if you are living in a house made of glass, then you should not throw stones at other people's house. So China should be a bit careful here. And President Xi Jinping, when he was here, like Wuhan summit, I'm sure you might have heard about Wuhan summit. It was an informal summit that took place between Mr. Modi and Mr. Xi Jinping. So Mr. Modi visited Wuhan at that point of time, and it's about after this Bhutan issue, Doklam issue, and things were, quite, means it's good that both nations had this Wuhan summit. And after that, just a few months ago, Xi Jinping was here in India. He was in Tamil Nadu, and both leaders had an informal meeting. So at that point of time as well, Xi Jinping never talked about this thing. He never raised Kashmir issue officially. He should have. Then India might have listened, but this is not a right platform. Now, this editorial is also saying that India should engage with Pakistan, but my personal view is that for a very long period of time, India has engaged with Pakistan, and Pakistan has never took India seriously. On one side, we are having a chat with them, and on the other side, they will do, their terrorists will attack various locations, like 26/11. Foreign Minister of Pakistan was here to improve relationship, and you see on the other side, 26/11 took place. So India has clearly stated that talk and terrorism cannot go together. Either you stop terrorism, right? If you stop terrorism, then we will talk, and if you continue terrorism, then we are not ready to talk. So simple as that. So I think that's what India should do. Now, you can have your own opinion about it. You can say that we need to do both, or we need to have talk, and talk will end terrorism. I'll leave it on you guys to think about it. Now, the second topic that we can connect this first topic with is this one of Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Chinese dream. Now, a few days ago, I explained to you what's going on in Taiwan, right? We talked about the lady that you can see on your screen. She is the president of Taiwan. Her name is Tsai Ing-wen. And elections took place. She was a president, and she got a landslide re-election victory, 57% so far. No political leader in the history of Taiwan has got this many votes. So it's a big thing for Democratic Progressive Party. So all those students, if I believe most of you are regular students, so you know what's going on in between this China and Taiwan. I showed you a map as well of Taiwan, and I do understand that a few of you would be first timers as well, like you'd be watching this video for the first time. So let's quickly revise, right, what's going on. I want you guys to pay attention to this 4 locations. One is China. The second one is Taiwan here. Then you have this Hong Kong and Macau. Macau was under Portuguese control. Hong Kong was under British control. Keep this thing in mind, right? Just hold this fact for time being in your head. Now, victory of Tsai Ing-wen and 57% vote itself indicates that people of Taiwan are inclined for a democracy. What they want is not a heavy iron fist of China, but they want democracy, and it's clearly visible from this victory of Tsai Ing-wen. And one more major thing is it's a re-election. So again, that's a big thing. In late November, pro-democratic political parties swept the local district council elections in Hong Kong as well. So it's not just in Taiwan, but Hong Kong as well. The democratic parties are winning, and this Hong Kong election and the result was seen as a referendum against China. It was a clear indication that we don't want your rule. What China is trying to do is, China is trying to appoint a head from Communist Party, a head who will be the main person, or the most, you can say, powerful person in Hong Kong. And people of Hong Kong are saying that we will select our own leader. We don't want a leader that is having, or that is working as an agent of Beijing. Now, Hong Kong was returned to China's fold back in 1997, and at that point of time, the British government and Chinese government agreed that Hong Kong will have a bit of independence. It will be more open. When I say open, I'm talking about like people would be able to decide what they want and things like that. Now, Taiwan has been entirely self-ruled since the end of Chinese Civil War back in 1949. The leader, Chiang Kai-shek, forgive my pronunciation if it's not proper, but Chiang Kai-shek was the main leader. He used to rule China, and then because of Mao Zedong, he left, and then he left for this Taiwan. He left the mainland for Taiwan, and he set up this Republic of China that we know as Taiwan today. Now, the difference between Hong Kong and China, the similarities is that they have a bit of democracy. They have independent. Means Taiwan, as you can see, it was self-ruled, and since 1996, it has a thriving democracy. Direct elections have always taken place in Taiwan from 1996, and Hong Kong, right? It has been not that much independent like Taiwan, but Hong Kong as well has, for a very long period of time, it has been under British rule. So you have those DNAs in Hong Kong. Now, Beijing has pushed with even more vigor on international strategy. Earlier on, I told you that how Beijing is, or China is, creating roads and giving money and setting up industries and other things. So with the help of its financial might, China is trying to win the hearts and minds of the people of Africa, various different African nations and their leaders, as well as Latin American nations and their leaders and the people, so that in future, whenever you have any sort of voting at UN level, then China will have so many countries in its team that will support China's stand. By the end of 2019, there were, I think, 15 or 16 countries were there, but by the end of 2019, the total number is 14. And this 14 means these are the 14 countries, UN member states. They are having diplomatic relationship with Taiwan. In recent past, it was Kiribati and Solomon Island. They have switched sides. Early on, they used to identify Taiwan as an independent country, but now they are saying that it is part of China, and it's all because of China's might as well as China's reach. Now, during December 2019, Xi Jinping was in Macau to mark the 20th anniversary of its return to China, and Mr. Xi Jinping said the people of Macau are, they are patriot. They love their motherland, that is China, and it should be a good example. But indirectly, he was, talking about Hong Kong and Taiwan. Basically, Hong Kong, he was saying that people of Hong Kong as well should learn from Macau. And, all he wants, or the main stand of Xi Jinping, is that these two places, Hong Kong as well as Taiwan, they should follow this one nation, two system thing. Now, let me conclude this lecture with the last point that, China has been offering, and very confidently, China is offering this China model as a solution for the world. But I would strongly say that China should sort out things that are going on at domestic front before talking about Kashmir. It should solve its own problem. And the way things are going on in Hong Kong, and the way China has handled things in these two parts of the world, like Taiwan and Hong Kong, it has done so many brutalities as well, and there are other bad track record of China. So it should sort out, it should look after its own back, it should mind its own business. That's what the bottom line can be from Indian point of view. Now, we have the third one, interesting one, the perils of RBI's fixation on inflation. Inflation is back in news because it has crossed 7.35%. 7.35 is a bit high inflation. This is a bit high, and it's a matter of concern as well, because it will not allow RBI to reduce its interest rate, because in December's bi-monthly policy, RBI, or MPC to be more precise, MPC was not able to chop any interest rate, and the next one is going to be on 6th of February 2020, if I'm not wrong. And at that point of time as well, I don't think so MPC would be in any position, because inflation is going to stay. 7.35 is a bit high. Now, the establishment of some of the world's oldest central banks was inspired by the goal of maintaining financial stability. This particular article is talking about three main things in which RBI has failed. It's also talking about this failure of this system of allowing RBI or central bank to just focus on one thing, and that is controlling inflation. Now, if we go back in the history of central banks, in our country, the central bank is, apex bank is RBI. If we talk about USA, then you have this Fed Reserve. It's I would say an apex bank of USA. Right. So why we need an apex bank? Because they are the ones, they will keep an eye on what's going on in various different banks. They will make sure that everyone is following rules and regulations. And why we need it, I'll give you a small example. Just imagine that you have a bank called ABC, right? Now, ABC has given a loan to a company called XYZ, right? XYZ is a company, construction company, let's say, and ABC is a company. ABC is a bank that has given money to XYZ, a big amount of money. Now, ABC has got its money from various different depositors, right? It might have got money from another bank, a bank called 123 has given some money as a loan to ABC. Now, just imagine if XYZ is not in a position to pay back to ABC, then all the money of these depositors as well as the money of 123 will turn into bad debt, and then the money that 123 has borrowed from depositors, or money of depositors of 123, as well as loan or any other borrowings that 123 has done from any other bank, let's say 456 or any other bank, then so everyone will fall. It will have a sort of domino effect on our economy or any economy. So to control this thing, to make sure that books are following or proper rules and regulations, books are clean, books are in order, and if books do go a bit bad, then to bring them back in order, this is the main responsibility of any central bank, right? It's very easy to understand. So central bank would stay hawk-eyed towards the activities of other banks in the country, private as well as public. Now, RBI had earlier pursued a multiple indicators approach. I'll give you why it was not good. There was one committee called Urjit Patel Committee. It was in 2016 when this committee was set up. It's the same Urjit Patel who later on became governor of RBI. So this committee recommended the setting up of monetary policy committee. Earlier on, what used to happen was used to have just one governor, RBI governor, used to take this office, used to take difficult decisions. Now you see various different stakeholders, they expect different things from RBI or from monetary policy. For example, if you are a business person or if you are a corporate office or a business, right, doesn't matter your size, if you are a business person, then you will favor or you will ask RBI, or your need or want will be that loans should be available at a very cheap rate, isn't it? That's quite logical. The cheaper the rate, the better it is for your borrowing, and if you can sell your items a bit more expensively in the market, then that's going to be a voila moment for you, isn't it? So business were asking for cutting down interest rate. Now just imagine if you are a depositor, what you will ask for. If you are a pensioner, you will ask for more pension. If you are a depositor, you will expect more return on your saving account, on your fixed deposits, or any other deposits or any other services that banks are providing. So there was always a clash. RBI governor was under too much pressure. Like government will ask quite strange thing. Government will say that you need to cut down your interest rate so that loans become cheaper. At the same time, government will argue for or solicit for in favor of pensioners, that pensioners should get good amount of return and things. So this was becoming very difficult, and finally in 2016, Urjit Patel committee recommended setting up of MPC, in which you will have 6 members in total, 3 members from RBI and 3 members from government. Government will appoint 3 members. So they will try to take a proper balanced approach, and you will have views of both RBI as well as government. And in case if there is a tie, then of course the governor's rule will be, governor's vote will be the decider vote. I hope these things are clear to you. It's a very basic thing. Now, earlier on, RBI used to look after all these things that I have told you, right? That looking after investors and making sure that the economy is heading towards growth, inflation is under control and things. But later on, it was decided by this Urjit Patel committee that MPC should focus only on controlling inflation, right? As far as growth is concerned, leave it on the government. RBI should focus on just inflation. So government gave RBI a target, right? And Indian government also instituted inflation targeting as the sole objective of monetary policy. This line will help you understand more about what I'm saying. And from 2016-17, it came into effect. Now, government has given target of 4% to RBI, and the maximum ceiling is 6%, 2% plus, 2% minus. Minimum ceiling is 2%. So between these two brackets, RBI should ensure that, or the main duty of RBI is to control inflation. It should not cross 6%. Ideally, it should be somewhere around 3.5 or maybe somewhere around 3 to 4, ideally, right? If possible, but it can go a little bit higher sometimes. It depends on various different seasons, like this one. At present, we have this inflation, and the main reason is onions. Onions played was the main devil, was onion, because this is CPI that we are talking about, Consumer Price Index. It's about retail inflation, and retail inflation, you have so many various factors playing. If core inflation might have gone up, then that would be a matter of concern. But here we find that headline inflation, which is more volatile, which covers this retail things that are quite volatile, things that are quite seasonal, like food and fuel prices. These are part of headline. In core inflation, you don't include these two volatile things like food prices and fuel prices. These two are not taken into consideration when we calculate our core inflation. So I hope you have one more feather in your cap. So basically, so this whole controlling inflation became the main, you can say, aim or target of RBI. And Arun Jaitley used to take pride in this thing, that during his regime or tenure, one of the biggest achievement was that inflation was under control. But at present, what we can see, that inflation has already gone out of control. So this is first failure of monetary policy. This is the first failure of monetary policy. This is the first failure of RBI. And RBI should focus only on controlling inflation. So government what RBI is doing. It is not able to fulfill its original mandate. The second thing is, when it comes to regulating banks, right, it is again a very important duty of an apex bank. And what we find is IL and FS. IL and FS is like a Titanic with it. So many other 100 subsidiaries or other NBFCs are in trouble now. IL and FS is sitting on a debt of 94,000 crore rupees. And then we have case of this Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank, and there are other banks as well. They are under trouble. So when it comes to second most important duty of RBI, that controlling banks and making sure that their books are clean and nothing wrong is going on, and here as well we can see that RBI has failed. So two things: one is inflation and the other one is controlling RBI. Inflation is something that can be controlled by monetary policy, but this retail inflation is all about supply. Onions, they were in short supply. So there's nothing RBI can do about it. RBI can tell government that these are the things. If the flow of onions can be increased, then we can control the prices. But it will take a bit of time, and by time government takes an action, things are already too late. So this is again a thing that we have to keep in mind, that just controlling inflation is not that healthy if we look at it from what's going on at present in our economy. The third point is management of currency. We know it very well that central bank has the monopoly when it comes to printing money or minting coins. And the sad thing is that there is a shortage of small denomination notes in the bazaars of our country. And it's a matter of shame as well for the people working in RBI that, the notes, particularly those smaller denomination notes, they are very, bad in shape. They look very ugly as well. When I say ugly, I mean to say that worn out, old notes, right? They should be new, crisp notes. And for that, RBI should take necessary actions. And supply of a short note or this small notes, is very important. We should have adequate amount of smaller denomination available in bazaar, which is not. So these are the three things where RBI has not performed very well. So we have already done with these three articles. This one is about tennis. If you are interested in tennis, then you can read this article. As far as examination is concerned, not important. This one is about should celebrities avoid political activism. I'll be very quick here, right? As an individual, as a citizen of India, they have the right to protest. As far as right is peaceful and non-violent, they can, of course, take a stand. But because they are celebrity, because they are influential people, it's my opinion that they should be absolutely clear about facts. They are going to face some opposition. But if they are factually correct, if they are clear in their head, like why they are opposing the thing that they are opposing, then it should not be a trouble. Many times when you take a stand, people will follow you, people will like you because you are a leader. In South India, we find so many, particularly in Malayalam film industry, it has always been active, politically active. But in this Hindi film industry, gradually we can see that some celebrities are taking stand. But it all depends, right? They have to be absolutely clear what they are opposing. Again, it's their personal choice. Every individual is different. Some people, they like to take a stand. Some people, they don't like to take a stand. So again, it is their right as well. We cannot force them to take a stand. Preventing mob lynching. Now, mob lynching is something that is not acceptable at all. If you have watched that movie called Gangajal, at the end of that film, I can remember that this famous scene where Ajay Devgan, the actor, he is stopping all these people of village from beating the main goon or villain. He's saying that if you will beat and kill him, then that will not be a proper justice. We have to follow laws. I know that he is a dreaded criminal, but I have to take him to the court and he has to go through this process. So that was a very important message. And in Supreme Court as well, back in 2018, has said that mob lynching or incidents, it has described it as a horrendous act of mobocracy. It has laid certain guidelines as well, like fast-track trials, compensation to victims, and disciplinary action against lax law officer. Manipur became the first state to come out with a proper law it has came out with a very unique idea of nodal officer. A nodal officer will be appointed at every district, and if there are a few police officers who are not following their duties, they are not doing their duties, then they will be prosecuted as well. And for that, this nodal officer will need no state government clearance. So it has made a bit things easier. Rajasthan has also passed a bill against mob lynching. And as per Parliamentary Affairs Minister Shanti Dhariwal, Rajasthan is a place where maximum number of mob lynching cases are reported. West Bengal also came out with a more stringent bill. It talked about this death penalty for mob lynchers. So what the central government can do now, central government can come out with a proper law that can take penal actions against all those doctors who are not doing their duties properly. If they are writing wrong reports on postmortem and other things, then they should be prosecuted. The second thing is compensating victims as well as witnesses, and protecting witness is also a very important thing, victim and witness. And the third one is we have to adopt a zero tolerance attitude when it comes to mob lynching. Moving on to news items, India is going to invite Imran Khan for Shanghai Council meeting. It's a very important meeting. All 8 members for Observer State and other international dialogue partners will be invited, and it is important for us to invite. We cannot say that we are not going to invite Imran Khan. That won't be diplomatic, that won't be professional from our side. Since becoming full-time member of the SCO back in 2017, both India and Pakistan joined this SCO back in 2017, and we have participated in RATS. RATS stand for Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure, and it's important for both nations. On your screen you have this infographic, current SCO members. You can see India, China, Pakistan, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. Observer states are Afghanistan, Belarus, Iran and Mongolia, and SCO dialogue partners are Azerbaijan, Armenia, Cambodia, Nepal, Turkey and Sri Lanka. When it comes to RATS, its permanent body is located at Tashkent, and this SCO permanent body secretariat is located at Beijing. Other news items, children are being radicalized, has been said by Kashmir. In Kashmir has been said by General or CDS, our Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat. No Supreme Court relief. Telecos have to pay 1.47 lakh crore rupees. 34,000 Bru refugees to be settled in Tripura. A quadripartite pact has been signed by Ministry of Home Affairs. Then you have a state government of Tripura, third party is Mizoram, state government of Mizoram, and the fourth one is the Bru people of Tripura, Bru community. So this is what quadripartite pact is all about. And you should know a brief history of Bru people, so go through this news item in full. And last one, India-Pakistan situation has affected Afghanistan. Afghanistan's head, Mr. Karzai, has said that India and Afghanistan are best buddies. In the same way, Pakistan and Afghanistan can become brothers. But for that, Pakistan has to sort out its own mess. And that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video. Dear friends, do share this video with other students, and don't forget to hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. God bless you all. I'll see you with the daily financial news analysis. Till then, enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.